This is our coffee room, but we've got it full of art. There's so many various wonderful pieces. At this end, there's a kind of unity to this end. When I installed this initially, Olga Korper was here, and we were having great fun deciding where things would go. And I said to Olga, I want to put this piece by Ted Reddick, this sculptural piece, right there. I think it'd be terrific. And so she suggested putting the little bronze pieces on either end, which are also by Ted. And she said they're very subtle. I said, Olga, this is getting so subtle, people won't see the wall. And so I said, let's put this John Hall crucifix up there. It just catches the attention. It's like an exclamation mark. And then you have these great faces here. They're almost like guardian figures of this little shrine at the end of our coffee room. A beautiful painting on this side by John Brown. This is from a series, 12 Attempts to Paint a Face. It's just a marvelous painting. It reminds me of some of the early Richter kinds of things. The face is very mysterious, deep eyes. And opposite, another quite striking face. This one is by Harold Clunder. Marvelous piece. I thought of Rouault, the great French expressionist religious painter from the early part of the 20th century. I also thought of the great tradition of religious art, Ecce Homo, behold the man, part of the story of the Passion of Christ. I think of it as behold humanity. And certainly when Harold did this and others like it, there's a kind of play back and forth between a kind of self-portrait and that whole tradition of behold the man. And over on the other side of the room, there's a very large painting by Leopold Plotek. He calls it the sacrifice of Isaac. And as one looks at it and tries to enter into it in terms of the story of Isaac, one of the things that strikes you right away is the hand reaching into the painting from the upper left side. It's somewhat like the symbols that Giotto used when he wanted to suggest the presence of God, the hand of God. You would see this little hand coming out of the heavens. And so it is here. Now, that means that in the story, what he's trying to evoke is the moment when Abraham is about to kill the boy, but he's stopped by God or the angel. And so there's some drama taking place here. There's a kind of like an answering hand and an elbow. Reading it that way, then this becomes, as it were, Isaac laid out on the altar, ready for the sacrifice. And of course, there's a bird-like figure at the top center. That's what I saw initially, but the more I looked at it, I was struck by another figure. This figure through here. It's almost like a crucified figure. And so if you read this, it's like sky under an arm and a valley and a river. And when you step away, it's really striking. You can't help but see that figure. It seems to come out from the painting. And once you see it, it tends to be the dominant image in the painting. So ironically, in some sense, you could say that what you begin with is the Old Testament story of Abraham and Isaac, but it somehow becomes a kind of Christian image of the Father and the crucified Son and the Spirit. And in the Christian tradition, people think of Isaac as a figure of Christ. This story is one that the rabbis love and they've thought a lot about. And in the medieval period, there were even rabbis who said Isaac died, but he came back to life. And we could have Isaac dead, Isaac alive. The painting is so rich, it's open to all kinds of interpretations. It's a beautiful painting, wonderful tones. It's just a great presence in the room.